On this edition of the Rainier Report, Afghan and American soldiers partner on live fire exercises, recon soldiers test out the latest high-tech parachutes, and engineers clear ground at Yakima Training Center. Hello and welcome to the Rainier Report. I'm Army Sergeant Nate Bowen. Afghan soldiers are partnering with U.S. troops for combined live fire exercises in Zabul province. Specialist Tim Morgan reports.
Engines roared and weapons fired as Afghan soldiers in Zabul province completed their first combined arms live fire exercise.
The A&A are really digging it, so I mean that really says it all. As long as they're happy, I can't complain, you know.
The training tested the Afghans' ability to maneuver down a lane while engaging multiple targets. They coordinated with different elements of their company, such as their engineer platoon, who disposed of a mock IED on the lane.
The engineer platoon sergeant, he's amazing. He's picked up this stuff quite rapidly. So now it's just watch him work, and I love seeing these guys work. And these guys are doing amazing things over here, and I'm pretty confident when we leave Afghanistan, we're leaving it in good hands with these engineers.
With the new gunnery lane in their possession, the 2nd MSF can now conduct training on their own to maintain their proficiency. Reporting from Zabul province, Afghanistan, I'm Army Specialist Tim Morgan.
Leaders hope the success of the exercise will lead to more combined gunnery ranges for the Afghan Army. Staying in Afghanistan, Sergeant Michael Needham is with the Afghan Army's 2nd Mobile Strike Force as they train with soldiers from our own 4th Stryker Brigade.
Since November of 2012, the Afghan National Army's 2nd Mobile Strike Force have spent a portion of their time training with the 2nd Squadron, 1st Cavalry Regiment for future operations. The 2nd Mobile Strike Force have been not only developing their own skills as a fighting force, but also the ability to work with their counterparts.
They're very motivated. They're always willing to take the lead. We saw when we were out here yesterday that they were more than ready to work from sun up to sundown. For us to really give them some of our tactics, techniques, and procedures on how we approach targets. So as they move into fully led and enabled ANSAF operations in the coming year, this is really critical to their efforts.
To congratulate the soldiers of the 2nd Mobile Strike Force for all of their hard work, the members from the 2nd Squadron, 1st Cavalry Regiment presented certificates at the end of the live fire exercise. Reporting for the 102nd MPAD, I'm Army Sergeant Michael Needham.
Getting new equipment is great for any unit, but testing it, that can be a different story, especially if we're talking about jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Army Sergeant Brian Spradlin is with a company of recon soldiers who are doing just that.
Christmas came early for some JBLM paratroopers this year in the form of new parachutes. They're trying out a new model, the RA-1.
It is light years above anything we currently have in the inventory. For the conventional guys, the recce companies, and the guys working in the battlefield surveillance brigades, it is a major increase in their capability to do standoff insertions. Of course, you know, that improves aircraft survivability, jumper survivability, and lack of compromise.
These paratroopers are the first in the Army to operationally test the new chutes.
At first, very nerve-wracking, you know, but you know, we went through the stressors. After our first or second jump, we all got a little comfortable with it, and then you know, again, we were taught to separate in the air, but here you're taught to group up together. So I think that once the boys figured that out and we started getting more familiar with the parachute, more comfortable, and I think we've kind of like broken the code. Still got a long way to go, but you know, we've kind of made a big leap.
They complete a series of successful jumps on Merrill Drop Zone, each one better than the last. With the testing nearly complete, the chutes could see fielding by summer of next year. For the Rainier Report, I'm Army Sergeant Brian Spradlin.
The 22nd Engineer Clearance Company took their soldiers on the road to Yakima Training Center, clearing the way for success. Army Sergeant Elwin Lovelace has the story.
The 22nd Engineer Clearance Company of the 14th Engineer Battalion head out to Yakima Training Center to train for situations that have helped them clear the way for friendly forces.
Today, basically, we have a mission on trying to conduct route clearance, and we were going through our TTPs and some of our practical exercises to ensure that we're going through the proper training to clear the routes.
routes that can pose many dangers for soldiers, like attacks that can be hazardous to vehicles.
The Max Pro took a hit to the front tire. We had to come up, hook up, and tow it out. And it's another day on recovery.
A day that can go a long way toward making the way for U.S. forces and their allies.
What I hope to take away is good training and also to minimize time and casualty when we go downrange.
For the Rainier Report, I'm Army Sergeant Elwin Lovelace.
Coming up, we'll visit a soldier who finds a musical way to help cope with life after combat.
It's time to start planning your next adventure. The Northwest Adventure Center on Joint Base Lewis-McChord has everything you need to get started. Whether it's a cozy camping trip or a day out on the water. They can even put you in a camper trailer or a quaint cabin on American Lake. It's your adventure, you get to decide. To get a full listing of available rentals, just visit jblmmwr.com and get started on your next adventure today.
We now bring you the story of an MP who returned from Afghanistan with a severe injury sustained from an IED that also took the life of a dear friend. Specialist Heath Graham takes us inside the story to show how Specialist Manuel Lopez is doing today.
With his scheduled appointments canceled, there isn't much left to do for Specialist Manuel Lopez on this day of no scheduled activities. But it's a day that Specialist Lopez is thankful for.
We were headed back to our cob, and the next thing I know, I had woken up in the truck, and it just felt like I was out of breath. All the wind had just got knocked out of me, and I mean, it was pitch black, and I had my little monitor, and everything was crooked. I didn't know whether we were upside down or on our side, and I could hear our TC, Sergeant Claudio, trying to scream for our driver, Fahey.
The driver of their MRAP vehicle, Specialist David Fahey, was killed when their truck hit an improvised explosive device.
Our truck blew up, and we flew 30 feet forward and off to the side near a building. The driver, Specialist Fahey, got ejected from the vehicle, and he landed on the roof of a building. This photo here, David Fahey is right in the front there.
Lopez and Fahey were good friends. That friendship lives on through memories and photos, and so do the events of that night.
And this picture here, on this roof, is where they found David Fahey. Rest in peace, brother.
Lopez severely injured his leg in the blast and was assigned to the Warrior Transition Battalion. When he's at home, he finds therapy in the love he has for his hobby, music.
I have such a wide variety of influences, so I think I have an influence from every, genre. I love Bob Marley, or even some Johnny Cash every now and again, I like Sublime a lot, So I kind of get a wide variety of influences and kind of, sum them all up.
Specialist Lopez has a strong support system in place, so when asked what his hopes are for the future, the answer wasn't hard to find.
My goal is to walk, at least walk, without a limp and in as less pain as possible, and to be able to play with my kids and go to the fair. Like this song, Maya? And just enjoy, family time.
For the Rainier Report, I'm Specialist Heath Graham.
Number 1, baby!
Not 2!
That does it for this edition of the Rainier Report. To see these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/5thmpad. I'm Army Sergeant Nate Bowen, and thanks for watching.